Manchester United 3, Ipswich 2, and I'm so happy we got the win. A vital 3 points. The gap between us and Ipswich is surely too big now, and that should be us safe, which is a bit embarrassing to say. And I never really felt like we were going to get relegated, but had we lost to Everton, had we lost to Ipswich, I would have started to get potentially a few fears in. But I will say this, under Amorim, 10-man United seems to do more than 11-man United. It's almost like when we're down to 10 men, we know we have to work that bit harder, and it gives us that little bit of motivation. But I'm happy with that all-round performance. First minute of the game, silly mistake. Think, here we go again. Classic Man United. Dorgu and Onana, miscommunication. But we did well to get back into it. 2 goals in the first half of the game. That is so rare. I mean, our last open play goal was against Forest on the 7th of December in the first half at Old Trafford. So, and I think in general, actually, first open play goal at home in the league. So, that was good to see. Yeah, scrappy goal, I know, own goal. But look, set pieces today. I felt like Arsenal today with the set pieces. Bruno Fernandes everywhere. Garnacho unlucky to come off. Højlund, just nothing going his way. Yoro, I thought, did really well. It's a shame about Dorgu because he was having a very good game. And the worst part of his red card means he's going to miss the next 3 games. And we massively need him. Now, I don't think he's a big miss for the Arsenal game because I think Arsenal, a lot of out possession work is about defending. Because if you frustrate Arsenal, they can't score. They didn't score again today. But it's the Leicester game when you want to break a team down. Leicester are going to play a low block against us. I think Dorgu would be more of a miss for that, believe it or not. But I'm going to give you my general thoughts on the game. Then I want to talk about Bruno. Then I want to talk about Ugarte. I also want to talk about Onana because I will say this. Onana is making too many mistakes. Onana started the season very well under Ten Hag. And since Ruben Amorim's come in, Onana is making too many mistakes. Like, Amorim can't do it with Onana anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like when we have done enough to win a game, Onana might do something to cost us a game. And this is coming from someone that's tried to defend Onana this season because the back end of last season and early this season, he looked good. But it's not working. He's consistently making mistakes in nearly every game. He's going to cost Amorim points. And it's a weird thing because we need a centre-back, a midfielder, another wing-back, a striker, a left 10 in the summer. But I think we also need a goalkeeper. I just don't know if Amorim is going to be able to do it with Onana. But let's continue on into other points. I thought Bruno Fernandes was everywhere. He was involved in every goal yet again. I saw people last week and this week saying Bruno's holding us back. If you think Bruno Fernandes is holding us back, then you honestly, I can't rate your ball knowledge. He might not be your perfect player. He might not be the perfect fit for the system, but he's a leader. He gives everything. He runs like his heart out. He does more than anyone else on the pitch. And our last 6 goals, Bruno's been involved in. If Bruno was on the pitch, we don't score our last 6 goals and we don't win either of these games. So if you think Bruno Fernandes is holding us back, you're crazy because so many good players come to United and they fall into the crap and toxicity at United and can't perform. Bruno's one player with Ahmad that can perform no matter how bad we are. So if you think Bruno's holding United back, I don't rate your ball knowledge. I really don't. He may have to go long term because of his age, because of everything. But if it wasn't for him and Ahmad, we'd be 17 points with Ipswich. I tell you this now. But I thought we did well with 10 men. I thought the first 20 minutes of the second half, I didn't even notice we had 10 men. I thought we did it quite well. I think the last 30 minutes of the second half, we did sit back. We did invite on pressure, but it was much better from United. Højlund, I spoke about him loads this week. I can't be bothered with it. Nothing's going right for him. Even when the ball gets to him, he leaves it. I feel for him. I just feel like he's so far out of his depth. I just feel for him, to be honest, at this rate. Onana, Howler, you might have to go, Zirkzee thought did very well. And I will say this, 3 starts in a row for Zirkzee. How much fitter and sharper does Zirkzee look? I believe so. I genuinely believe Zirkzee is the future at Man United under Ruben Amorim. And I don't think many people would have been saying that after the first few games under Ruben Amorim, after that Newcastle game. Zirkzee looks fitter. He looks sharp. He looks a bit quicker. He's still not fast. And I look at the way he touches the ball and holds at the ball, and I think, you get a really intense channel running striker, you get a good left hand, you get midfielders that pass in the ball in good areas. I think Zirkzee could be a good player for us, and you can see why there's still a lot of top clubs in for him, despite his poor start at United. And I think he's looked really good, and I think he was one of those players that needed a run of games. He needed to get match fit. He needed to get match sharp, and I think the last few games he's been really good for us. I really, really like Zirkzee. I think Garnacho should have stayed on over Højlund. I think Garnacho's got that rapid pace. I think we're going to sit deep. We're going to invite on pressure. We've got to do that. We've got 10 men. But we need, when we win the ball back, we're kicking the ball up. Zirkzee's not quick. Bruno's not quick. Højlund's quick, but he's not as quick as Garnacho. And I think with the space there, I think Garnacho probably as an outlet, Garnacho and Zirkzee up top probably would have worked better. than Højlund and Zirkzee up top, especially because Zirkzee thrives when he's got runners off him, and that's what Garnacho does. Højlund isn't making those runs. One of the most disappointing things about Højlund is he's not getting service, but he's also not making those runs that he would have made last season. He's really regressed in that sense. And I did think we sat back and invited too much pressure the last 25, 30 minutes. It did worry me, but we defended very well. I thought Maguire looked a bit shaky the first sort of 30 minutes of the game. He's got mistakes in him, but I thought the goal and us going ahead and the confidence, I thought the second half we defended really well, Maguire and De Ligt. I thought Zirkzee, Yoro and Ugarte particularly put in shifts today, and of course Bruno Fernandes, man of the match. But I was really impressed by those three. I think the lack of options on the bench was very clear. I think, Bruno ran his heart out, Zirkzee ran his heart out. It'd been nice to see someone like Aiden Heaven get some minutes here and there, but I can understand going with Lindelof. It'd be nice to see Cheetah, but I can understand 10 men probably isn't the game to throw youth on, which is fair. But Ugarte just, again, shows how important he is. Ground coverage, intensity, everything. I think, in games where we have a lot of the ball and we're expected to dictate possession, you could sometimes see Ugarte's weaknesses in it. But in games like this and in big games, top 6 games and games with 10 men, Ugarte is basically 2 midfielders with his legs. And that was the biggest thing we missed last season was legs and midfield. Casemiro used to get killed. Everyone used to get killed. And I think, Ugarte's ground coverage and everything was incredible today. I think when you've got 10 men, having players like Ugarte, Collier and Bruno that can cover ground is so key. Because if you don't have them on the pitch with 10 men, you're screwed. I thought Garnacho could have done well in those last 20 minutes, and I feel for him a little bit. I thought he looked a bit brighter than Højlund today. I thought he was going to have a bright game, and there was space in behind at the end. But, Amorim, we won the game. Amorim obviously made the right decision, but it was scrappy at times, and it wasn't the easiest win. But you know what? The fight's all that matters to me. The fight, and I think slight improvements, like our set-piece game has really improved. We've been criticised that for a while. Clearly been working on set pieces. Our last 6 goals have come from Bruno Fernandes set pieces, which tells you a lot. We're becoming Arsenal. But yeah, really impressed with the fight today. Because I tell you this, it's not... Look, I think Ruben Amorim's system doesn't get the best out of every player at United, but the reason we've not been doing well isn't mostly to do with the system. It's mostly to do with the lack of fight. I think there's elements of, 4-3-3 suits these players better, but they couldn't do it in a 4-3-3. So what's the point of doing a 4-3-3 when they weren't that good in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1? You might as well stick with what Amorim knows. But it's the lack of fight. Amorim's system, when there's no intensity, no fight, it looks bad. But the last 20 minutes versus Everton, the last 20 minutes versus Southampton, the last 20 minutes versus Leicester, the Arsenal game with 10 men, the Liverpool game, the minute there's fight and intensity in Amorim's system, it's a different level, and it just shows the importance of intensity at United. But look at this. Manchester United's last 6 goals have come from Bruno Fernandes set pieces. And as Adam said here, Bruno Fernandes awarded man of the match, fully deserved. He has put Manchester United on his back and run himself ragged for them yet again. 4 chances created, 2 assists, 14 passes into the final third, 5 ball recoveries, 4 defensive actions, all action display from the captain. He was unbelievable today. Yet people want him sold. I mean, you've got Casemiro, who did well when he came on, Eriksen, who did or barely came on, but people are giving Bruno stick more than anybody else, and it's like, why? If there's one player that doesn't deserve sticky, it's Bruno Fernandes. I just think it's agenda-driven at this point. I get he's frustrating at times. I get there's things that he does that's not to like, but this is Man United relegation battle. This is a Man United team that's probably the worst team we've had, and again, Bruno Fernandes, one of the few players that got, probably he looked best at United in his first 2 seasons, and yeah, he gets brought down by the crap at United. But he's the one that's stepping up when you need him most. And I got a stick earlier because I tweeted that Odegaard's gone missing and Arsenal needs someone to create most, whereas Bruno Fernandes is saving United. But it's true. It's absolutely true. I want to give Zirkzee a shout out. From being booed at Newcastle, it's only gone up since for him. I think he's looked really good lately. Whether it's 10, whether it's 9. Look, he doesn't have goals in his locker. But I honestly think you could bring in a world-class striker. They wouldn't score that many goals at United. I think service and the creativity in terms of goal scoring is definitely something we lack outside Bruno and Ahmad, who can score goals. We didn't score today, Bruno, but played a part in all of the goals. Our centre-backs are our biggest goal threat, but I think his all-round play, his touches, his passes, link-up, his hold-up is very good. And it's like, if Højlund could at least do that, like him not scoring is almost fine because we're not creating chances. But I think because Højlund isn't doing the other stuff, him not scoring becomes frustrating. Whereas Zirkzee not scoring, he's doing everything else that we need, the dribbles, the passes, the touches. And I think that's why we need an experienced striker, because even if we're not creating chances, we might have better runs so you can make a chance out of something. And I think that's what Højlund lacks. And I like Højlund. I want to believe that Højlund can become good. And I don't mind him being a second striker, but he's not good enough to lead the line. I saw this tweet from Aaron that I'm going to read out. Listen, there are many valid critiques to Ugarte as a player, but that man is a physical tank and gets nowhere near enough credit for the way he's carried United's midfield the last few months. The legs and the fight from Ugarte has been unbelievable. He needs someone that's naturally good on the ball to partner him. And I think Bruno would be better in the final third, but I think Bruno and Ugarte is our best pivot pairing at the moment. I do like Collier. I think he's a solid backup for Ugarte because he's got those legs. Credit to Lenny Yoro as well. 100% dribbles completed, 100% tackles won, 95% pass accuracy, 50% passes attempted, and 53 passes completed. The little turn as well on the pass into Højlund, which I'm surprised he left. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the 3 points. The 3 points is all that matters today. And, a draw versus Everton, but it was a comeback, a win today. Can we build on that? Can we beat Fulham? Can we progress to the next round of the FA Cup? Not Sociedad at the Europa League, and the season's been crap, but if we can end the season well, it puts us in good spirits for the summer. We could potentially get back in Europe if we win one of the cup competitions. I think that's what we've got to focus on doing, is can we, the season's too late to be saved, but win the Europa League, go on a run of 4 or 5 wins in a row, and it's a different season for United in a weird sense if you just finish strongly. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Bye.